The scientific method is a process to find answers to the questions about the world around us. There are 6 steps to the scientific method. It is identifying the problem, forming a hypothesis, creating an experiment, performing the experiment, analyzing the data or graphing the data, however you want to do it, and communicating the results or the conclusion. Identifying the problem. It is basically you use observations to made to write a question. So it's basically writing the question. Then you answer that question with an hypothesis, which an hypothesis has to be a educated guess. It can't just say, like, what happens if you mix gasoline with fire? You can't say it's going to create unicorn. You have to be educated somewhat. So that's what an hypothesis is. Then you create the experiment. You'll list the steps and the materials you need. So basically, if you wanted to see what happens if you mix fire and gasoline, I don't recommend it, but that could be an experiment. What you'll need probably is like the materials, which is fire and gasoline, and the steps, and well, so on and so forth. Then you perform an experiment. Kind of self-explanatory. Then the 5th step, you'll analyze the data, or you'll graph the data, however you want to say it. You just write it all down on paper. Then you'll write out what happens. You'll explain to us what happened and what the results were. Kind of like 5-paragraph essay, the conclusion, and the prepare.
I'm gonna put 4 ceiling tiles.
So that's basically what scientific method is. Some questions that may be asked is, what is the scientific method? I already answered that in the beginning. It is a process that is used to find answers to questions about the world around us. And some may ask, is there only one scientific method? And no, there is not. There are several versions of the scientific method. Some versions have more steps, while others may have only a few. However, they all begin with the identification of the problem or question to be answered based on observations of the world around us, and provide an organized method for conducting and analyzing the experiment. The hypothesis. What is an hypothesis? Which was already answered again. It is an educated guess based on what you know and what you've read and seen. And what is data? It is the information gathered from the experiment. Whenever, if there's a flaw, if there's a flaw in your experiment, you can always go back and modify and try, but make sure you know what you're doing. There you go.
Today, Mackenzie and I are going to show an example of the scientific method. We put our safety gear on first, and we decided that we wanted to find out what happened when we put baking soda in a balloon and put it with vinegar. So we formed our hypothesis, and we decided that the mixture of the baking soda and the vinegar will cause the balloon to fill up. And what we have our baking soda and our vinegar in our balloon. So our first step, got all our safety equipment on. The second step is to get out our materials. The second step is you measure 350 milliliters of vinegar into a boiling flask.
We've already done that, but go ahead and show you how we did it.
You would, just kind of pour that in and then... Right. Okay, and next I'm going to have Mackenzie hold this balloon open while I put baking soda in it. Now, depending on how much you want to see if your balloon will air up, is depending how much baking soda you want to put in. I'm putting in 5 plastic spoonfuls because we have a larger space that has vinegar in it. So now we are going to stretch the balloon over the opening of the flask. Make sure it's on there too. Alright, and then you pick up your balloon, let that fall in there. And that's what happens. So our conclusion is that if you mix vinegar and baking soda and a balloon, your balloon will air up.
Exactly. Thanks for watching.